We're live.
Great. Just a few miles.
I'll give you a second chance.
All right, I have 4:34. At this time, we'll call the meeting of the Canyon City Commission to order. And with that, Mayor Pro Tem, would you please?
Yeah, I'd love to. Y'all pray for me. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for a beautiful day, Father. Father, just continue to protect the lives of those who protect us here, all the staff here at the City of Canyon. Father, continue to protect our citizens and be with us tonight as we make decisions about the future of our city. And we love you and praise you in Christ's name. Amen.
Salute, pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Takes us to the approval of the minutes of the meeting of May 6, 2024.
No changes, I move we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve the minutes. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 5, public comment. Comments from interested citizens.
No citizens, do we have any staff?
Y'all are awesome. There you go. That's public comment.
Yes, I know.
I know.
All right, item number 6, first reading of resolution number 09-2024, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Canyon approving project funding agreement between GNP Kalick Industries, LLC, DBA Tire Works, Tire Pros, and Canyon Economic Development Corporation related to direct financial assistance and job incentives for new business in Canyon. Stephanie.
So I'll be honest with you guys, working with Tire Works in this process, it's been a joy actually to work with a new business that wants to come and expand. They're planning on moving their corporate office with this expansion. So this is a big ordeal and they're actually wanting to be open and ready to go by January 1st of 2025. So with that, they've asked for a little bit of help. What we're planning on doing is we're giving them a little bit of money for mostly as job incentives. And then also there, if you'll know, on 15th Street, we have some future development with this extension of the water line that's going to be able to help us not only with that El Patio location that the EDC currently owns as well as Stewart Title, but then also future development over there at Tire Works. Do y'all have any questions?
You know, Stephanie, I was impressed too. They've kind of thought, no, that's our corridor. They've really come in and shown plans that landscaping's really nice and well done. And then some of the commercial truck operations going to be on the back east side of the property too. So I think they've thought it out well for the city and all too.
And I think the majority of the money, yes, it's showing for job incentives, but it also helps them spend the extra money that we're asking to do on the landscaping and some of those other things like that. So,
Sidewalks.
yes, the lighting. And then I will let y'all know that they're spending an extra $10,000 per door just to make it aesthetically pleasing. So I think they're wanting to make sure that that is something and they honor the gateway of Canyon for sure.
They're gonna put 35 Bradford pears in there.
We have told them not to.
Get me started.
We talk about trees.
They grow fast though. They grow fast.
Trees allowed.
We did tell them that. We did tell them that.
We need a public hearing on the pear trees.
Forbidden landscaping in
Have you
Canyon,
ever sent me
Texas.
the deal that, the best way to prune a Bradford pear is to take a chainsaw and hit it horizontal 6 inches from the ground, so.
It's great for smoky.
Yeah.
All right, that's just a discussion only item. And we have one more too here for Stephanie. It's item number 7. First reading of resolution number 10-2024, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Canyon approving project funding agreement between Canyon Chamber of Commerce and Canyon Economic Development Corporation relating to direct financial assistance for fireworks display for annual Independence Day celebration in Canyon. Stephanie?
So you'll probably all know that about 40,000 plus not only residents but visitors come to Canyon for July 4th. So the Canyon EDC board did feel like this was a great opportunity for us to be involved into the biggest celebration that Canyon hosts, and then also make sure we're present in their advertising and ways to promote just growth to Canyon and just people to come and visit us.
Very good.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
And great job there Saturday evening too, so.
Great.
Went off well.
Thank y'all. That was great.
All right, item number 8, consider and take appropriate action on ordinance number 1208. An ordinance of the Canyon City Commission amending ordinance number 1172, as well as all other ordinances in conflict herewith, revising the subdivision regulations of the City of Canyon, Texas, amending Chapter 9.02 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Canyon, Texas, providing a severability clause, establishing an effective date. Lucas?
Yes, thank you. So this is something that we brought last week, let me just get caught up here, to the Planning and Zoning Commission. This has come out of, first of all, our commitment as we made to you all when we adopted the subdivision ordinances to periodically take a look at things that can be changed or updated or improved. We did that once already with the Plat Approval Authority after the state adopted a new bill. This is the second time we're coming in to look again at these ordinances and make a change. And that change is to add an additional local urban residential street width that allows new developments that provide alleys the ability to construct a narrower right-of-way, but narrower street width in their subdivision. As you can see in the memo, we think there's a lot of benefits to this. Alleys relieve the need for city trash trucks to drive on the local roads. It's much more efficient to use dumpsters than rollouts. It provides a space for utilities. It can carry drainage. It's a lot easier for builders to be able to drain to the back and the front of the lot than to have to get the whole lot to drain out to the street. And it provides the option for rear access, like we see in several of our neighborhoods now. So as we've been talking with different developers and talking internally with Public Works, we feel that adding this additional option where alleys are provided as a requirement, excuse me, will be beneficial not only to developers but also the City of Canyon. Reduces our cost on street maintenance over the years as we look at seal coating projects and way down the road as we look at rebuilding roads or having to repave or grind and repave. That reduces, it's only 4 feet, but 4 feet for every local road really tends to add up, those square footage calculations. So that's the change that we're proposing. We also made a clarification in the document, and I do believe I added the page, if we could pull that up. At the top there, it used to say face of curb to face of curb. That was an error. So we're just correcting that. It's back of curb to back of curb is the measurement. So right now our minimum is 37, which produces a 36-foot street including the gutter. The new minimum would be 33, which is a 32-foot street including the gutter. So plenty of room to park on both sides and traffic can get through on those local streets. It's actually still wider than most of the streets in the City of Canyon that don't even have rear access. So for example, my street on 13th Ave, it's one of those yield streets where if people are parked on both sides, you kind of yield to oncoming traffic and get through there, but we don't really see many issues with that. This would be in a place where rear access would likely be much more utilized by homeowners.
So what would be the width of a street like that then, Lucas?
Right now, like 13th Ave,
So,
mine is 28 feet of pavement, so it's probably pretty similar to this 33. It might be 32, 31. Would you agree with that? Probably 31 back of curb. So this is still a little bit wider than that.
It's probably 32 back to back.
Okay, yes.
What brought this up?
In conversations with developers, talking about how to save costs up front. And then if you can ask anybody on the development review team, I'm always complaining about how wide our streets are and how they don't need to be that wide. So from a planning perspective, saving costs down the road, and also MIT did a massive study of like a few thousand local roads across the US and found that narrower streets are by far safer.
Slows us down.
People drive slower, so when collisions occur, it doesn't mean that collisions happen less frequently, but when they occur, they happen at lower speeds. So the fatality rate and serious injury rate on narrower local roads, not arterials, not 4th, 23rd, not the highway, but local streets, the narrow roads have been proven to be safer.
If they add alleys, is there a certain feet that alleys have to be, are they set?
20-foot minimum right-of-way dedication, and then they can either pave the entire thing with a concrete channel, inverted channel, or we have an option for just a 12-foot solid concrete. We have a couple alleys in Canyon that are just a 12-foot, but most are the solid paved, and a few have the new inverted channel. That's a recent change to require that concrete.
Can't remember, did we change if they do have rear access, they've got to make it street?
Yes,
So-
they have rear access.
Like Kenyon East has alleys, but it doesn't have rear access.
Because they're not improved.
'Cause-
That's
yeah,
right.
And they're not, they don't have to
Exactly.
improve them under that condition.
That's right.
I don't think we changed that in the, all that.
Because it's still our preference, even if they're wrapped for utility purposes, to have all the utilities back there, be able to drain back there and pick up trash back there for dumpsters. Yeah.
I'm going to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. The motion passes. Item number 9, presentation on potential changes to the zoning regulations map. Logan.
Awesome, thank you. So we adopted recent update, an overhaul in December to the zoning regulations and the map. We again want to have a commitment as staff to be constantly looking at things that are causing issues for businesses, homeowners, potential developers. And also, we didn't want to change the map specifically when we went through that update. We wanted to go through the text and amendments and then come back and look at the map and see if there's any specific changes. So these are some proposed changes. I brought this all to P&Z as well last Tuesday, and they reviewed all these changes. We had some great discussion. They think that they would support heading in these directions. There's one change that a commissioner recommended on P&Z, so I'll mention that as I kind of go through this overview. But the goal tonight is to have discussion, to answer any questions that you all have, and kind of just explain the reasoning behind these proposed changes. So I'll start with just the use chart changes, and there is a page here. Well, that's not relevant to this though. I apologize for that. But number 1 is a use chart addition. We right now have an industrial district, and if you do want to scroll down to the map, that actually would be helpful, Gretchen, sorry about that. The map is massive, but if you can zoom in on that, yeah, pinky purple
Here, if
on the
anybody
left.
would like a printed version.
So that's our currently zoned industrial area that's been zoned that way for a long time. I think when Canyon first adopted zoning, a zoning map, that this was the original area that was intended for industrial use. As we're looking through the use chart, I've had a couple people call and ask about potential businesses that have not been enacted now, so I just kind of went back and did a double check. Currently, we do not allow fitness centers or banquet and event centers in the industrial district. I thought that was peculiar, something that I'd missed in the first round, and I don't see a reason why those two use types shouldn't be allowed in the industrial district. So the reason for the recommended change is just to remove barriers that people might have. There's already several gyms in the industrial district right now. They're all across from Pondicetta. Of the ones I know of, there's CrossFit gym, an MMA gym, there's a gymnastics gym. Those are all, existing businesses that, we're not gonna go in and enforce anything there. But if somebody wanted to open another gym of that type, we don't see any reason why we should create that barrier. So that's the reason for the gym, specifically the fitness center is what it's called in the zoning ordinances. And then same thing with the banquet and event center. I don't know that this is necessarily the area of town that people would prefer to create that type of use, but some could make the argument that Pondicetta could use their building as an event center and that it doesn't meet the zoning code, and I don't think there's any reason for that barrier to be there as well. So that's kind of the cleanup, and the recommended change there is just to clear that up and make sure that there's not those barriers for those two options. I went through and looked at everything else, and it seems like most other commercial uses are allowed in the industrial district, the way that it's currently written. Are there any questions on number 1 there? Awesome. Number 2 came up from talking with some local developers, people that own rental property and develop rental property in the city of Canyon, primarily for students, but also around town. And we were talking about the parking requirements that we currently have, and specifically looking at, and this page, you can scroll up to the page above here, Gretchen, I did highlight this. In our use chart right now, just the page right above it. In our use chart right now, sorry, the map's massive. We require 2 parking spaces per unit in a multifamily building, and 2 per dwelling unit in a townhome. The question that we were asked is, why do we require an extra parking space from a studio to a 1-bedroom apartment, or for example, from an ADU to a 1-bedroom apartment? And I thought that was a great question, and I think that that could be a hindrance to development that we don't necessarily need to inflict on developers. So the recommended change is to reduce the parking requirement to be 1 parking space per bedroom in multifamily, and then the same thing for townhome. I don't know that it will necessarily be an issue with townhomes. I don't know many townhomes that are ever built in 1 bedroom. Typically the smallest you get is 2. But I do know that for multifamily, sometimes building several units can be an issue when you're taking up so much of your property with parking, having to have 2 spots for every 1-bedroom apartment. And so that was just something that was brought to us as staff. We thought that that was a good thing for them to bring up, and so that's why we're bringing this potential change forward to you today. We don't think it would be causing any issues. There's a lot of students in Canyon, obviously, that are renting, and a lot of individuals that are renting. And we don't think that there's a lot of 1-bedroom apartments that are necessarily being doubled up right now. We don't have the crazy high rent prices that you might see in other college towns that kind of force more than 1 student into a single bedroom apartment. So we don't foresee necessarily any negative consequences of reducing that requirement, but we do see some positive outcomes in it, increasing the number of units for future developments. Somebody's at Chuck's house. Any questions or comments on that? Okay. The last thing is looking at a zoning map change. So we did a little bit of research here, specifically on 3rd Ave, but also in that neighborhood. And this is something I mentioned to you guys a long time ago. We've had several rezoning requests. And Gretchen, you can zoom in right here in this blue. But first, before you do, you kind of notice we have this single-family neighborhood right here. It's the light blue color, surrounded by multifamily, our heavy commercial, light commercial, and our heaviest commercial zone. And that's peculiar. Everywhere else that you see your single-family light blue, it's adjacent to other only housing uses, typically of only 1 scale up or down in the zoning chart. So this neighborhood's a little bit unique in the city of Canyon. It's been kind of surrounded by these higher density uses. Do a little bit of research on 3rd Ave alone, which is these 3.5 blocks. About 45% of the lots currently have more than 1 unit on them today, even though it's zoned single family. So all of those were built before this zoning map was adopted, and to me that was an issue at the time. They shouldn't have adopted a single family zone for a street that was full of multiple unit parcels. So that's one of the issues. The other issue is we keep getting rezoning requests. So you can see 2 parcels that have already been rezoned individually. One here is a nice duplex over on 2nd. This has been rezoned and the existing building is torn down. It's a vacant lot. We have a zoning request coming to P&Z and Commission next month for either this parcel or this parcel from the same guy that's hoping to rezone that to our new MF2 zone. So the discussion we've had with P&Z and that we're bringing here to you today is we adopted a new zoning district that's MF2, which restricts building height to 2 stories, which is the same restriction for all of our single family zones. and it would allow a higher density. It would bring a lot of the existing lots into conformance, but would also provide for redevelopment in that neighborhood. And we think that this is the most logical place for that higher density redevelopment to occur because of what it's surrounded by. We've got the university across 23rd, we have downtown to the west, a lot of multifamily to the north, and then commercial to the south. So that's the suggestion. We'll have to have a process to do that. We're not gonna just send everybody a notice, hey, we just changed your property zoning. The goal would be to send out an informational letter. Hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. We're gonna invite everybody to a public meeting, probably have a couple meeting times and dates so that people can have an opportunity to come in. And then we'll also provide contact information if people wanna call. Get people's individual responses and thoughts on that with the ultimate goal of rezoning some or all of this area.
I think that part's good. I think there are some very nice homes there on Third Avenue too, and.
Yes.
You know,
Some very nice homes with multiple units,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Have apartments on the
Right.
side and all.
Or on the back, yep, yeah.
That's true.
But you're right, and there are some very nice single-family homes there that we'd want to make sure we engage and have discussions with them before making that change. But, you know, and it might come down to some people not liking it and some people liking it, and it'll be a decision for P&Z and for this body to ultimately make. But there is a fourth property that came and called me 2 weeks ago. Like, y'all know Larry Wilhite, somehow he's connected, and they said, hey, can we build another house behind this house? Not right now, you can't, but I'm looking into it. So I know there are some people that own single-family houses now that would come in and be supportive as well. So that would be something to talk about. So any other questions, comments before the next time you'll hear about this? There will likely be an action item after we have some public input. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it. All right, item number 10 is consider and take appropriate action on replacement of Canyon area library roof. Bo?
Thank you. Good evening. The Canyon Library building, the roof is in bad shape. It's the original roof from whenever the building was built over 20 years ago in 2002, and it is now regularly experiencing leaks. Some so bad that there's water running down walls. It's not just drips, it's water running inside the building. We are rarely doing repairs, having to spend money on repairs every year. And as soon as one area is repaired, the water then flows to another problem area. So we're just patching constantly. We did receive a quote back in November for repairing just what we call the flat part, even though it's not flat, it still directs the water, but it's not the metal angled part of the roof. So replacing that, the quotes are around $239,000 to $248,000. The lower end of that comes with a 15-year warranty. It's just a single layer on top of the existing roof. The higher end, which comes about $10,000 more, it's multiple layers on top of the existing roof and comes with a 30-year warranty. So about $10,000 more for between a 15-year and a 30-year warranty. This is unbudgeted in the current year, so it would have to be paid from the general fund reserves. We've been working with Garland Company, Inc. to assess our building roofs and maintenance for over 5 years now. There's somebody that our facilities team trusts working with. They have a process where they will manage a roofing project for us at no additional cost. They will go do the bidding for us. We still select which bid we want to continue with, and then they manage the project, warranty the work that is done at no additional cost.
So put a 30-year on that,
Yes, they will put a 30-year.
on that roof.
So kind of a different way of doing this. Garland is part of a cooperative agreement through Omnia Partners, so that does fulfill our bidding requirements for this purchase. But staff is seeking to enter agreement with them. We say no more than $300,000 because we don't know what the quotes are going to come in at. So that should give us enough grace period to not come again and seek your authorization again.
My question earlier is why still wait until the next budget cycle? I just feel like it's that urgent.
We've said that the past 2 years. We keep moving it back to the next budget cycle, and it keeps getting cut. And
Exactly. We've talked about putting $20,000 a year for 17 years or whatever that boils down to, and we just can't get there, Gary. And that came from, that's Joel and Bo's recommendation, is to go ahead and let's get it done. And I think a quote from Joel would be, we got to take care of what we got and get those things taken care of with the leaks. We've been spending, I don't know, Bo, we've spent from 7 to 11,000.
over 13,000 last year.
Yes, so we keep spending the money on fixing it. Ladd, who works for Garland, does our roof inspections. We've got the fibers showing on the roof, in various locations, and the next leaks will be just in the next place. I mean, it's just moving around on us, and so we're ready to just go ahead and bite the bullet and move forward. We'll actually be replacing an air conditioning unit there also. We have a unit that's down, so we'll be doing an air conditioning unit and then coming back and putting in a new roof also.
How many budgets has it been cut out of?
Correct.
And we feel really good about Garland, and there will be Garland products, they actually sell products, roofing products. And so when they manage a product, of course, they'll use their product on there, and then they'll put a 30-year warranty on that. And so Garland will be the folks that will call our roofer, whoever the roofer is that they get, that we select, we'll call them, and they'll be the ones holding them accountable and assisting us with that and making sure that all that gets taken care of. And would come and do the inspection and say, yeah, that's your roofer's issue. And they would help us with that. And they've done a great job of doing that with us along the way. And they'll bring in he offered us as many quotes as we wanted.
Correct.
If we want 3 quotes, if we want 4 quotes, if there's if we want to make sure that Chuck puts a quote in, we can tell him we want a quote from Chuck. They'll do whatever we want. And then we'll go for best, the selection will be
Best
based
value.
on best value. Thank you.
Assume this is the amount for our deductible cost on our insurance? Is
We
that what?
filed it with insurance 3 or 4 times, and none of the damage is due to insurable incidents. Like, it's not weather related, it's just age.
So we need a good hailstorm.
It's age related.
I think I filed 3 times with
Need a good
insurance trying to
health
get them to cover.
It's kind of like your fence. When your fence ages out, you got to go pay for it. But if the wind and the storm blows down your fence, then your insurance will pay for that. We're at that same point.
Do it.
I don't know anything about Garland, so it's kind of hit me, and I don't know anything about them or how they're doing it or what's going on. I mean, I just first I've heard about Garland, so I don't know.
Right, they'll manage the product and the project for us, and it could be local roofers, it could be anybody that hands in a quote there.
And Hereford recently worked with them also. We
Correct.
reached out to them and asked them what their experience was. They were positive.
City manager was real pleased with that. Actually I think he said he had one little thing something needed to come back. Garland brought those folks back, got that taken care of, and they were real pleased with that. Steve, right? Steve Bartles?
Yep.
Move to authorize the city staff to enter into an agreement with Garland Company for no more than $300,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to authorize the city staff to move forward with Garland Company. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. The motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, and Carlene's not here, but she thanks you also. We'll get started on that.
All right, item number 11, consider and take appropriate action related to City of Canyon facilities expansion, renovations, and bond election. John?
Well, once again, in front of you, I put the plans A, B, C, D in front of you. There's been some changes made to that. We added a fire truck And that's why that's in dark green there of $1.1 million. That's something that Joe feels like we need to make sure we include in that bond, so we've put that in there. So that did change things slightly from what you have seen previously. Joe and I had a conversation with Sheila Sims and John Gamble. I guess that was the end of last week, Friday.
Mhm.
It all runs together after a while, but it was Friday. And spoke with them for a good while, asking their thoughts, working through these things. We let them know that, which direction we thought you all were interested in, but that's what we're here to do, is to talk about which direction you all want to go as far as the plan, so we can just confirm that with you. We did specifically ask them about a November versus a May. I was very surprised. They felt like that if we get with them quickly and provide the information, that we could make a run at that. They'll need to meet with our consultant, and Megan, the consultant is,
Wendy Swope with W Marketing.
we need to meet with them and talk to them and see what that looks like, because that'll certainly change their schedule and their plan of how they laid it out previously. But again, they don't control her, but they felt like she would probably be able to work with us on that. So we as a staff, we leave that in your hands. That's a decision that you all we're going to need to make at some point in time. And we'll throw it out there that, we've always discussed about November being around a general election, which could be an interesting general election. And then we also came up with the fact that in April, you receive your appraisals on your house. So that is an event that occurs before an election that would fall into May, which could affect an election or cause
And May's our typical election timeline.
people to feel a certain way about a bond election. So I wanted to share that because that was a
Numerous pros and
cons to each one of them.
for each step. So, we recommend Plan A. Obviously, Plan A needs to get into a little more detail, and we're ready to work that direction. But we wanted to have open conversation with the whole commission. I know we've had a few conversations one-on-one, but I think we really need feedback from y'all on November or May. And so I'm hoping to have some type of takeaway tonight, or if we can't decide tonight, later, sooner or better, on November or May. If we do decide to go to November, I would like for y'all to give us the understanding and blessing if that we need to stop and plant and stall till May, give us that discretion. If things aren't going as steady and as fast as they could go, if we feel as a staff that we don't have enough time to do this the right way, that you trust us to come back and tell you that and start gearing back towards May. So we've talked about, we provided some detail on elections and success. Elections are down since COVID. I think that was glaring from what Bo put together for you guys, but we'd love to hear what you think on Plan A, B, C, and D. I think most everybody, I've taken away that pretty much could live with A. So that is our staff recommendation, and the chief is here to discuss any of those specifics at both of them. I know we still have some homework to do on how the Gold Star turns out, so there's a little bit more homework on that. We have some of the schematics on the renovation of the fire station right now. So we do have some, not everything we need, but we can work from there.
And I think I have told you previously that some of these numbers were numbers that Joe and I came up with, that we just put it to fill a hole. As we talked to them, they thought we were fairly realistic. I didn't get the impression, Joe, that.
Yeah, I can tell you my numbers on the classroom building constructed probably could be less, for sure on that, so we can go down in some of that. And we think it's probably in the ballpark.
Right.
We'll pitch it out first, and we'll go to the election second. Do I have at least a consensus to move towards Plan A? Which, if I can read out, renovate fire station completely, limited Gold Star renovation, construction of the burn house for the training grounds, classroom building constructed at the training grounds, renovate the existing police department
Yes.
and modify some of the basement, renovate the planning and development area, work on a new city elevator. We're not sure if we'll be required to go to the basement yet or not. We need a ruling from TDLR on that. That's right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, TDLR makes that call, yeah. We do have to replace the elevator equipment. The elevator equipment, John and Facilities is over that. It's
original.
It's done. Station 2, we talked about doing that for a gym, weight room over on Station 2 Annex. And then, of course, Dennis brought the main fire engine, and we have applied for an assistant firefighter grant on that. So that's a 90-10 grant. So we haven't been nixed on that yet. So we did apply for a grant. And on some of the other stuff we have applied for a grant through the federal government, but it's a 35% grant. So there is some potential that we could get that. But back to my original question. Is Plan A where most of y'all are? Consensus.
I'm good with Plan A. After meeting and going through everything, I asked what did we really need instead of just all the things that we want, possibly, and talked with Chief and asked him his thoughts, and we've heard about the police thoughts. So if that's what we feel like that covers what we really need to move forward with, then. And I asked him also to consider a list of priority of wants. If there were some wants that we could put in there after the fact, look at, then that would be something we could do as long as we had the needs met initially.
Chinese standoff.
I've moved that direction after input of the chief, and I really like Plan D. Just felt like, you're not just renovating existing space, you get more for your money. I felt like with the new fire station, I think with input and just effective culture, and hopefully we can do it some cheaper to renovate versus build a new fire station. A couple of things, my understanding, once we go out and Sims puts this together, we have the opportunity to do some value engineering, and then
You bet.
one question I still have is the doors. Is there a way to rebuild those, versus spend, I don't know if that's $500,000 to $1 million on new doors is probably my biggest question there. And then, excuse me, I'm sorry. The other thing I'd throw out, just all fire pieces, those numbers, to me, that all looks pretty solid. See what Sims comes back with. A question I had, just after our tour, looking at the Gold Star building, looking at the space down here, existing planning code and police department, we really have space that you could almost leave as is and is usable, almost have enough offices as is. And the number, I don't know if this is completely knock out walls and start with a complete new floor plan. The number of 4,725,000 seems high to me to redo what maybe we could live with as is. And so I almost wonder, and Paul, I'd really be interested to know your opinion. If my question is, we know we need security over there. That's got to be a piece. We probably need a fence around the outside, and we need some interrogation rooms. But to build out some walls and interrogation rooms, maybe a few offices, and maybe we build a few offices downstairs too. This is way off the top of my head, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But what if we put $1 million over there and 500,000 down here building out some walls. I don't know, your opinion, Paul, what to get where we,
That makes some sense.
And you'll have an opportunity to look at all that, Gary. We just need them to start drawing and start figuring out what it is. And then when they build a Taj Mahal or they design a Taj Mahal, then we're gonna say, we don't really need that. We can cut that back. We need something for Canyon, Texas. And they'll do that.
and I guess part of my question for them too, if they can, instead of knocking down walls and completely redoing floor pans, I mean,
I don't anticipate any walls getting knocked down, Gary.
okay.
Anything.
I
If we
don't
can
know
use
any
a lot of
walls.
those existing offices.
Yeah, I don't know any.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna.
No, I don't know of any walls that we would take down in this building.
You could utilize that whole west side for offices.
Gold Star.
Yeah.
And we met with Mike the other day and talked at length about I brought up the whole Region 16 originally because that's our model, right?
Right.
And those are monster cubicles with glass at the top and doors, and those are things that we think are real viable for us to be able to do. The cubicles that are down there, probably not as viable for the departments to use as their offices, but a different type of cubicle. That's what we're looking at.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. And,
So the ones
you know,
with the
just,
higher walls, that,
Yeah, we need to they need some more privacy.
We really, I mean, a lot of the work, we feel pretty good on fire. We really need to get with it with Chief Brush on what their, I haven't even looked at their early comments. And I've provided a few other police stations, working on looking at those plans and just seeing where we go. And I think we're gonna do our best to work around not demoing hardly as much as I can, and more than anything, it'll be adding walls, if I had to guess.
I think
I assume most police stations have the wings, that's what, I think it's what Steve's looked at, is having wings for administration, for detectives, patrol, we'll just have wings, and so how does that incorporate into that blank canvas? So I mean, more than likely, when we put pen to paper, Chief Rush and Captain Coggins will probably be in those offices that are already there. I doubt we do anything different, so we'll work through that, and so more than likely then, that'll be the admin wing, and so we'll work towards that, so I don't see us going there and gutting those offices without, I think they just use them as is. I mean, it seemed pretty good, so, I don't know, I haven't talked to the chief at all, but we do need to get some more headway on that piece, and that's where we need to go. The other piece is, I think 2.5 million is just we just threw that number in there based on 9,000 or 10,000 square feet at 250. So we just threw that in there as a gap filler. If the commission wants us to just say, hey, we're not willing to spend more than this, they'll tell the architect, this is your budget, this is what we need to happen. We're gonna do that on some of these items. There's no doubt. We'll say, your budget is this, get us to there.
And Sheila said that too.
She did.
We would like an ultimate build out of that building, but that may not be what we get this time. It could be 10 years down the road before the ultimate build out of that building occurs. Maybe it's another bond election, maybe we find gold under the streets and all of a sudden.
Maybe we have to do with the doors at the fire station. We do it one at a time.
We're ready to do that.
So.
one other piece, just thinking through, what makes best sense. The municipal court, we talked about completely walling off that north end, redoing and probably take restrooms. Right now, we're paying, I think it's like $15,000 a year in rent.
Yeah, it's like $1,200 a month. I think we just looked at that, Mr. Boyer. Is that correct? That is correct.
So
$1,200 a month.
To build out restrooms, build a court, I could see it could cost easily, I don't know, $300,000 or $400,000 to go in and do that. I just don't know if that's a good use of that space and dollars. So just a thought. So, if we could maybe figure out a place here, or I don't know. Just if we can think that through.
The one good thing is, they're right. When the police department moves there, they're right across the street in their current space. So, yeah.
Again, we were just trying to plug something in there to use that space. If we're not concerned about that, then we're good with that too.
It made sense, but just thinking through the dollars
Fine,
one
yeah.
side versus the dollars on the other.
Yep. And it may not happen this time. Like in phase 3 or 4 of the renovations, maybe that happens.
Be down the road. So we need to do
At
what we
this point in
can
time.
to get our primary functions for the police department over there. That is our goal.
But I think we could look at what would the cost be and weigh it, yeah. What would the cost be to move it there, and then we can decide at that point, if, I agree with you, if the cost factor doesn't equate to really where we need to be right now, that would be one thing that we could
That'd be easy.
definitely take out.
Absolutely.
Other thoughts, everybody, kind of that plan A, everybody good moving forward that direction?
I'm still not sold on taking the bay out. I don't know about that. Figured out why we have to do that yet.
Just not enough space over there, Paul. And, you know, the hard part, you know, I know Gary was asking about if we had people sleeping over here and going over there, it still doesn't function well enough from a time expedience factor. Just doesn't function as well unless we're all consolidated in one spot. That's the ultimate issue.
I've had the same questions, Paul. To me, that seems the most inefficient part is taking that out and the cost to build that structure out there. I think it's huge. Up with a better answer yet.
No, on answer again.
I think there was only a $600,000 savings.
There's not much savings if we brought it over here, maybe 400,000 or 500,000. It's just inefficient trying to get from one place to the other.
Have we considered moving everything to Gold Star and making this the fire station, all of it?
If we do that, it still doesn't fix what I just said, the inconvenient factor of going back and forth on. We still would lose the bay because because they're gonna sleep somewhere and they're gonna have their gear somewhere. And so if we don't take the bay out and just leave what's there in that space, we take Dennis's office out and Vince's office and then move all them, we still do not believe there's enough space to have all of our decontamination area, their living quarters, or restroom. We don't feel that there's enough adequate space there right now. And if you move them over here and sleep over here or put their equipment over here, you're just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It just, yes, can it work? Yes, it can work.
That's Plan B, Danny.
It's inconvenient though.
That's Plan B.
And it's inconvenient and it will add to our call time. Call time, as you quoted, 6 minutes is what Chief Quinn indicated. That's our goal when the call comes in is 6 minutes.
What happens in that plan is we do a little less, we save a little money on the fire department there, not a lot. Those are numbers from Sims to compare the two. But then we have to dump a lot more money into Gold Star.
Right.
Because we are gonna put permanent walls up. If we're all going over there, then we are gonna put permanent walls up for the business office and for the various departments. We won't be in cubicles. Some people would be, but there would be walls.
Cubicles within
The decontamination center couldn't be built across the way on that lot.
All be together. We fill our SCBA up. They go over to decon before we do that. They go over to the SCBA room, then back out into the trucks.
As just to remind y'all, we do have our equipment in the bays right now, and that is not standard. That's actually the opposite of standard. So that's one big thing we're trying to get away from is moving our equipment out of the existing bays and into a place. They should be out of the bays.
Chief, you're good with Plan A?
Yes, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem, fairly silent over there.
Yeah, I mean, y'all know where I stand. We talked about it the other night. These guys have told us, the experts have told us what they need. They've come up with a plan. They needed it in 2013. Let's move forward. Finally.
So we need a motion to adopt Plan A?
We would, before we get there, we'd like to discuss November or May. We would like to have a consensus on the plan, and then we would like to have the discussion on November or May. I still personally am reluctant on November, but I do think we can do it. We still got 6 months from voting day. We can spend probably the next hour talking pros and cons on November or May. I mean, good and bad on multiple things. And so we are good either way you want to go. If you want to do November, we do have a good vibe that we could make November. It will be a very large turnout, I suspect, with presidential. We do know the school is going back, so there will be hurt, help, competing, whatever you want to call it, they'll be on the ballot too.
Possibly.
So possibly,
Not been
not
voted on.
finalized, possibly on the ballot as well. I don't know any other, I doubt Randall County's on there, any other our local governments, but heavy turnout. Mr. Burns, we did the cap, did we do it?
That was in the May, was it not?
It was nice.
It was a May election.
So we did do the cap in May of 2016, does that sound right? Okay. But we do think we could get November if we wanted to. I think we would feel stellar though if we did May. I think I wouldn't have any doubts on time, getting things out, getting things communicated effectively with May. I don't have any doubts on that. But kind of like what I know Commissioner Jones has said and some others, November has its perks as well.
And I don't, and with our conversations with Sheila Sims, I believe she would have told us that that's no way, but she didn't say that. She said, we can do that. We got to, you all, as in us, have to get some things done quickly, and they'll have to get some things done quickly, but they could do that.
Yep. They looked at putting the living quarters for the business department down below us.
I can't remember if that was in B or not, John, do you remember?
They drew them up here, I don't.
Was it up, it was up here, it was in city manager's office, Paul.
Down below.
I don't think we've looked at that down below, we
That's
just, I think they,
needed, if that was gonna happen, then that would be needed for police.
Yeah.
That's the growth for the police department to move across to the business office.
Farmers going over there.
well, before it was police and fire together. We didn't do an option where only one department was here. We did police,
If you move the lodging to the business office, then the business office doesn't have a home any longer.
Gold Star.
Okay, we thought through that a little bit, just knowing that the business office needs to interact with other departments, and being in the police station's not necessarily the best place that people wanna go pay their water bill.
They've been planning zoning and planning development over there.
They meet with Joe at least once or twice a day.
that's my only
With all the
downside is
development and the interaction that takes place here.
I'd like to
Again,
keep them close.
that's
I'm ready to get rid of Steve and Dennis, so
but, it's just that having that ability to be close together.
let's put that out there.
And the difference is, I'm gonna assume that the city manager in Amarillo, whoever that might be, does not meet as often as Joe does with the planning and development or with staff. And we have someone that used to work there, and he could probably,
That's absolutely true.
and it is advantageous for Joe to be in those meetings and be
Gary
able to do that.
actually asked that same question, Paul, so.
'Cause that's the Sims building. They're all down in the Sims building in Amarillo. But those are huge departments too.
But all your planning and development people look like they want to leave.
They-
Maybe they don't like the interaction.
Natalie said you're not gonna be able to get her out of her desk, so you're already gonna have an issue.
That's questionable. I tried to give Joel away, just give Joel an office and nobody could ever find him again. He was okay with it.
Yeah, we really have to look for the most economical way to make it work.
That's just my preference right now with the way development and utilities are going on. It's valuable to me to have them close. Not to say it's always that way, but
And as you stated, Commissioner Jones, some of us have been looking at this since 2013 and 2014. When I got here in 2014, I was tasked with picking up the end of that study and finishing that study, and so for 10 years, we have looked at it.
I think we'll definitely move IT. More than likely IT will go over there with police.
Chief Gwynn, as far as response goes, what does losing that bay do to you?
We'll station our grass trucks across the street. at the other building, and then high fire danger days, we'll bring them over, just stage them here at the station.
Yeah, how many grass trucks do you have over here now?
2.
Y'all are doing that now too, right?
And percentage of calls that you use a grass truck versus the other trucks?
That's a tough one right there, sir. Season dependent.
Well, to answer your question, you're just trying to maximize more space over at Gold Star. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, save costs.
To save cost?
Let's keep it bay.
Yeah.
I would love to figure out that piece on the bay too. It just seems so inefficient, because of the cost of building that kind of structure in there.
We do, I mean, the just, Chief Quinn, just thinking out loud, if we had our living quarters in the utility building or even in planning and development, they still gotta run, get their gear and all that. I'm trying to just eliminate seconds and time for those calls. That's where.
Well, that's why staying down below is right beside it is.
Yeah, but there's a direct door for planning and development. It'd probably be better. There's no direct connection. They'd have to go out into the hallway, I think. Yeah, they'd have to go into the hallway and then through planning and development.
Then across all of it.
Unless you made it direct.
Yeah, you could possibly, that could be potential.
That's what I'm thinking, just re-engineer it.
And if that's what the commission wants us to do, I mean,
But if you re-engineered that, you're still gonna have a problem going from your hot, warm, and cold zone.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you do it on that end of the building or if you do it on this end of the building.
Yep, you're right.
You're gonna lose a bay.
Yep.
You're still gonna have to find a way to, I don't think it matters which side of the building you're on. Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
I mean, you're gonna lose a bay on this side. If y'all come over on that here, or if you go to planning and development and y'all stage there, or y'all have rooms there,
I've got to have the extra square footage of one bay to get the SCBA room, decon area separated, and then also have a place for us to store a turnout gear.
and if you do it on this side, you're gonna lose that bay, but you don't get any use of the top part.
Correct.
On the other side, you lose the bottom bay, you gain the access for the
Expansion
zone,
upstairs.
and then on the top, you're able to use, sounds well thought out. I'm a Plan A fan. And going on to the other subject, I'm still in November. I'm personally not scared of the large voter turnout. I'm a little concerned about leaving Gold Star empty from November to May. I don't think that's a good use of the money that we spent, which will be exactly a year after we spent it. Over $3 million where a building will not be in the use of the city, and I think that's a problem. And I'll be honest with you, I also have a little concern about, me personally, I'm not talking about any other elected official, but I have a little concern about the potential of an elected official putting something on the ballot and then themselves not being on the ballot. That, you know, I could vote for Plan 30 million and put it on the ballot and then me not run. And I don't think that's fair. I think if we can, we need to be able to serve out a little bit of that time if we're gonna put something on the ballot, if that makes sense.
I'm good with A, as well as November, if we can possibly get there. Reasoning, just because they've answered that that's what they need, and so they know more than I do about what they need.
Okay, well, let's go.
Thoughts on November 1st or?
It don't matter to me, either one is fine with me.
You're good on both?
Yep, go on both.
November? Good on both?
I'm good either one too, but I really think that the commission's got to be able to, trust city staff if they say this plan didn't come together, or our marketing folks saying time-wise, more just time issues.
I agree.
If that's the case, okay.
Let us build a calendar with them that has a drop dead date. We're gonna come back to you. It's before we put the first thing out, we're ready tomorrow, we're gonna put things out, and that's the day. It's like, we're not ready.
Gretchen,
We'll
well,
let you know.
November, or August 17th,
Monday, the 19th.
I don't have my calendar.
but it's middle of
It's
August.
that week, yeah.
Middle of August is when we have the last drop dead date to call the November election.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion we adopt Plan A. It doesn't say that in our packet, so.
And recommend November.
You can recommend that, I didn't add that,
Need to,
please.
two separate motions or what?
It's not an action item for the time,
Okay, well.
but just a recommendation.
Okay.
Are you recommending November?
Yes, you did.
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to proceed forward with Plan A. Is there any further discussion?
Before we vote, I would like to ask if the commission is good, we'd like to look at bringing on Mike Wardis to do some assistance on this project for John and I. Does anybody have any drastic opposition to that?
None whatsoever.
So we may bring him in sooner rather than later.
Already had lunch with him too.
So we may bring that in future meetings.
All right. Motion is to approve Plan A. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
We'll hit the ground running.
All right. Yeah, thank you much. I know there's been a lot of head scratching, and we've asked a lot of questions, and I appreciate you putting up with asking a lot of questions.
All good stuff. No stupid questions.
Item number 12, consider and take appropriate action on 380 agreement with the lumberyard. Joe?
Yeah, you want us to talk stuff?
No, y'all go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
This was something I thought was a good idea in conversations with the commission last go around on this project. They have decided they want to do gravity sewer is what they've decided. Mr. Enriquez and I went over at least 2 meetings, I think, with them, and I know Chris has also visited with Joe Shane Engineering on this project. And so I've really highlighted the main points from my original memo, so I put those in here, and then along with what the main points are for the recommendation. Ultimately, I think for the most part, they're good doing gravity sewer. It unfortunately is most expensive. But the main points of the agreement, 50% cost reimbursement, $225,000 max, and then they have to perform all these. Basically, I did tie it back to the CEDC project funding agreement, and so those are the stipulations as set forth in the 380 agreement. And so these are the items that they'll have to meet. They'll have to provide us utility contract. They still have to do a performance bond. They will have to do that. That is the law. And then they'll just have to provide invoices and payments to everybody, and as well as a payment affidavit that they've paid everybody to make sure that they've done all that TxDOT permit. And then we will provide inspections. The city will provide inspections of this project and assist any way we can. So, and we'll review it just like any other development project. We'll review and provide comments. But it's a fairly straightforward, simple. I know we need to check on an easement to see if we have enough space there. Other than that, I haven't had a chance to talk to Danny one-on-one, but I think overall he's probably pretty good with all this. On the clawback side of the 380 agreement, obviously if they default, they do in the 380, they have a time to cure in there. And so they do have a time to cure. If they don't, then they'll have to pay the money back. There is also an opportunity where we finish this project, and if they default later on down the road on the CEDC's project funding agreement and do not cure, they will have to pay this money back. So those are the clawbacks in this 380 agreement. And I think that project funding agreement, Stephanie, timelines at 3 years. So 3-year timeline on that, so. But in this one, they will go out, they will go build it and all that. And we will pay 50% of the turnkey project, which includes construction, engineering, and survey.
So it's not gonna be private lift stations or nothing?
Nope, they want to do the gravity. They want to do the gravity line.
Decide what side they feel like they'll go on. Are they gonna go, which side of the highway?
Most likely the west side. Didn't really see any benefit in going down the east side.
Anybody have any glaring issues with this? So the ball, like, once we get all this signed, the ball will be in their court to build it, and the staff will work with them to get this project going. So there will be some cost savings and time savings.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve the 380 agreement. Any further discussion? Please signify by raising your right hand. Like sign. Motion passes. All right. Takes us to item number 13. Consider and take appropriate action on ordinance number 1207, an ordinance of the City of Canyon, Texas, amending city commission meeting dates from the first and third Mondays of each month to the first and third Tuesdays of each month, beginning on the third day of September 2024 as the regular meeting time of the commission of the City of Canyon. Gretchen, looks like you're presenting this one.
Yes, sir. Our city charter under the city clerk requires that we meet once a month. We have to set the day of the month by ordinance. It has been brought up that maybe we would move the regular meetings to the first and third Tuesday instead of the first and third Monday. I think that's probably a good idea. We have a lot of holidays that fall on Mondays. It gives us a little more time. I'll still have agenda packets out on Fridays, just because I don't like working Saturdays. I do it, but so it gives you a little more time to look over the agenda packets once they're sent out. I can see a lot of positives to it, but that's just you all's preference on if you want to do this. I believe Mayor Pro Tem Jones has voiced that he would like to see this happen. I think it would also help you, Commissioner Cramner, with school board meetings.
I think there have been times in the past, I was telling Joe over the last 20 years that we forget that it's a holiday on a Monday and then we're gonna do it. I mean, it would just be, yeah.
We used to meet on Thursdays years ago. In '97, it changed to Monday.
97.
Does this mean we could have more meetings and less long meetings, or are there always gonna be long meetings, Joe?
Well, with that said,
More and long is
we
always
probably
good,
need
sir.
3 meetings a month.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second to move our meetings to Tuesday. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes.
And I did set the effective date for September 3rd. That would be the first Tuesday of September, due to we should be done with budget by then, and that way we're not messing with the budget calendar. So September 3rd would be our first Tuesday meeting.
And that was read in the reading. Good with that, with your motion, the way we didn't have that as our motion, or are you good with that being part of the motion there?
Yes, absolutely.
It's written.
Yeah, it's in
It's
the
written here,
ordinance,
yeah.
so,
Okay, in the ordinance, okay.
yes, sir. So we should be good.
Very good. All right, that takes us to item number 14, executive session pursuant to 551.071, consultation with attorney. And with that, I have 5:43. We will adjourn into executive session.